Welcome to the Goodyear City Council meeting. We're excited to have you be a part of this important public process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to address City Council on both non-agenda and agenda items. The agendas and speaker request cards are located in the back of the council chambers. You must fill out a speaker request card in order to address the City Council. Please drop your completed card in the tray next to the blank speaker cards. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to the officer. You may check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to still voice your opinion on an item on the record without having to speak. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact a staff member if you need any assistance. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and tell us your name for the record. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. The timer is on the screens visible from the podium. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Follow the city's social media pages so you don't miss out on all that's happening in Goodyear. Thank you for coming to this meeting and being an active part of your city. And remember, it's a great time to be in Goodyear.
I'd like to call the regular meeting to order for April 10th, 2023. Who we have here? All present?
Mayor, we have all present, but if you could mark yourself present.
There we go. Thank you. With that, would you please join me in a pledge of allegiance and invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, please provide wisdom to all of us on the dais that we make good decisions for all of us within this community. Also, I'd like to make sure that you protect all of our public servants that are in uniform or out of uniform, serving out there on behalf of us. Make sure they're safe and don't fall into harm's way. And again, please make sure everybody here in this meeting as well makes it home safe. In thy name, amen. Everybody down. Now it is time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda items within the jurisdiction of the City of Goodyear. Any speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor. Michael Desi.
Come on up to the front if you would, please. The council can listen to any comments and take any one of the following issues. Please state your name and your address. Respond to criticism, request staff and guests investigate and report the matter. Request the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. You've got 3 minutes. You'll be able to see when the time gets closer to 20 seconds. So the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Michael Desi. I'm a business owner here in Goodyear. I've been here for 20 years, lived here since 2003. When I first moved here, real quick, this place was a lot different. We didn't have half of the problems that we have now. My concern in my neighborhood is I don't feel safe in it anymore. I've had 2 killings in that subdivision. It's Rancho Mirage subdivision, which is on Australia and Van Buren. The thefts and break-ins have gone up exponentially with, of course, population, people moving in. I get the expansion. But at what price do we pay for expansion, for growing Goodyear, if we're going to lose it on the other end of the spectrum? My safety is my concern, period. I want to be able to walk out like I did in 2003. I loved looking at the mountains. I can't see the mountains anymore. They're all gone, and that's why I came out here. I understand growth. So what is your plan to keep me safe, I guess is what I'm asking. And I have one more question. Are we undermanned when it comes to police officers in this city?
I can respond to that. I know we have a study currently, correct, on police staffing? Is that
Yes, we
correct,
do, and
Manager?
I'll ask the chief to meet you and.
Back and explain where we are at?
Get your
Okay.
contact information so he can have a conversation with you.
Okay,
There you go.
that's basically it. I want to know what your plan is to keep us safe.
Chief Rodriguez will talk to you about, I know we're doing a study, and I guess he'll fill that out to make sure, but last budget year, we put in a couple squads, and I suspect he's going to be putting in for more this time, but let the chief tell you exactly what the plan is, okay?
And the chief is that man
Right
right
there,
there?
he's going to meet you in the back,
Okay,
okay?
all right, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Steven Sidorsky?
Hello, Stephen. You heard the instructions. State your name, address for the record. You have 3 minutes, and it'll tell you when you get to within 20 seconds, okay?
Thank you, beloved Mayor and City Council. I'm lay brother Stephen Gerard Sidlowski. I travel the country as a pro-life personhood speaker, and I did attend your recent Arizona March for Life. I do, however, vote out of Lorain, Ohio, for the records. Beloved Mayor, I just met with your wonderful city clerk and city council and citizens. You all now have a little package from myself. I hope you'll find time to review it. In that package, you're going to get a Bible bookmark with pro-life information on it. You're going to get a little bit of information on the success of the recent Arizona March for Life at the state capitol. You're also going to learn about all 19 charter cities, of which your city of Goodyear is also a charter city, which is why I'm speaking before you today. You're going to get an article of the first newspaper in the country, putting the personhood language that you can actually insert in your city charter. That article is there. And you're also going to get a new personhood strategic action plan guiding everybody, whether it be the city council and mayor, whether it be church and community leaders in your city of Goodyear, or whether it be wonderful citizens and business owners. And citizens, after the city council meeting, if you wanted to take pictures of any of this and put it on your camera, I would welcome that. And then finally, Mayor, you're also going to get a lot of hard effort, loving effort all over the country. You're going to get access to the personhood resolution, which you might decide to work with City Council on and actually pass possibly by this Mother's Day or Father's Day. If that's too quick, maybe you'll consider it for next year. I teach City Council how to move in the new direction of personhood language in the city charter. It's a wonderful new way of thinking because our wonderful Supreme Court established the new Dobbs era of law last year. So it actually gave me traction. You see, I've been doing this kind of effort all over the country for many years. Did my MBA at Xavier University. I was part of Students for Life at Xavier University, okay? I also was given your city charter because, of course, I need to do that. And the initial review of your city charter is that you have Article 1 with boundaries in Section 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Well, you could add the personhood language right as a preamble in the beginning of Article 1. My time is minimized, and I want to let you know I'm a singer, so I'm just going to close with a pro-life song with a beautiful woman who's written that song in the back of your Bible bookmark. A little a cappella, here we go. Let the beating heart show you there is life in the womb. God bless you, loving wisdom in all of your efforts. I hope you're going to call me in soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more cards?
Yes, Mayor. Dennis Hudson?
Hello, Dennis. You've got the other spiel.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, I'm
So
back
you're
again.
good
I'm
to
back
go.
again.
Just name and address, and
Dennis
off you go.
Hudson, 8039 West Kenny Road. I appreciate that I've heard from Mrs. Reed and Mrs. Wilkins concerning some of our issues, and I know it's a matter of time. And I've talked to 5 other residents that have not. First of all, I'd just like to say I know that's what you do as a city council and stuff is sometimes a thankless job, because you volunteer your time, and however the situation is, it's pretty hard. So I know exactly I've been on the MAG board back in the 80s. I helped develop a nonprofit organization in Mobile so that we could have some autonomy. And right now I see things have happened. We had a shyster in the community that wanted to do an oil refinery. He had hoba beans, and so he would do all kind of things and just taking advantage of the property out there. And now I see that the city has annexed some portions of it, but we're getting, I know of 5 people at least in the last couple of years have moved out because the city is putting so many pressures on them about how they live, if they can't have a manufactured home, they can't have a dumpster, they can't do any of those things, and we're out in the middle of the desert. So when it comes to, I think we're kind of being disrespected, because I asked last time, do you have anybody representing our area? So when you have meetings to discuss what happens in our community, that we're in the loop. Because like I said, I formed a nonprofit out there to make sure that we had some representation, but that went away, so I'm working my way back in to do what I need to do to make sure we have some representation. So like I said, there's 5 people that have moved out, and one of the first things that I'm really concerned about is our history, because like I said before, in the 20s and the early 30s, it was 20,000 acres allocated to colored people. It was federally granted land. And now we're just a few of us out there, and some of them are still have connections with the community, and they're not happy about not having anything to recognize that we ever existed there. And so my concern is that I have people that are activists and people that are in the legal aspect of the community and nationwide, and they're ready to, kind of rally together to talk about, let's not be stepped on or disrespected. Let's come to the table and talk about it, because I don't want to go there. So I'm just trying to make sure we get some respect in the community as far as what happens to us out there, because like I said, you tell us what we can't do, but I don't see what you're doing other than just, well, we'll get back to you. And I've seen it at a family, Rodriguez family. They had a home and they got tossed out because they couldn't meet the requirements. They had a manufactured home. They had the property for 15 years, but since they came under the jurisdiction of Goodyear, they had to move and get rid of their trailer home and their dreams and everything else. So I would just like for us to kind of come to a meeting of the minds, because I'd rather not, because I love Goodyear. I've been watching you for years and everything you've done here, and it is a beautiful thing, but don't forget about the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have a question for the manager on this. You sent out the follow-up information and the last time that you spoke, and we were informed of we currently don't have zoning that addresses this. We are in the process of updating some of our zoning and building regulations. I would just ask that we include perhaps a new zoning portion that is homestead or whatever we want to call it, that addresses the situation down in Mobile, because I do not want to have the residents of Mobile, I'm just going to generalize you if you don't mind,
Sure.
to be subjected to the same zoning requirements as somebody at the corner of Indian School and Pebble Creek Parkway. I think we've got a different designation, and we should be looking at that rural component of our city. So I just ask that we include that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yes,
Agreed.
we got that.
okay,
Mayor,
And-
I thought we already did that.
not yet.
No.
Well, let's be sure we're talking about the right boundaries, because we don't, there's just a certain small area that we have. And I thought these folks were outside of part of our area. So I want to be sure that we're talking about the right area, at the right people,
Sure.
on the right streets. Because the whole time I've been going down there since 2009, I've never heard until they brought it up. no one down there that I have worked with ever said anything like this, so.
The manager's going to look into that, see what we can do.
Yes.
Okay?
And I do know we connected with Norma Cunningham, and you have a beautiful story to tell about the history in that area. So we'll make sure that also happens there.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's, like I said, I think a lot of people hadn't talked about it because most people are kind of nervous, or they feel like a government comes in, there's nothing they can do about it, say because they didn't like it. But, and like I said, if you don't like it, move to court site, and other people say, you have to do this on your road, we can't do this, you have to do that. So I'm just trying to prevent anything else. Like I said, what you're doing here is beautiful, and I've been watching it for years, but at the same time, you know, titles are beautiful, but I'm more concerned about the heart as well. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. With the city clerk,
We have one more, Mayor.
what's that?
We
One
have
more?
one more.
Oh, okay. Who else?
Anthony De Jesus.
Please, sir, state for the record your name and address, and off you go.
My name's Anthony De Jesus. I live at 4139 North 185th Drive. I won't take 3 minutes. I just wanted to, I had made a call, I don't remember who I spoke to, but it was just about the traffic situation at Citrus and Indian School. I understand that Camelback's been under construction for like 2 months now. It's taking 25 minutes to get from the 303 to my house. I live in Sedella, obviously you can tell by the address. And I was just curious, like whenever I came into this new place, it's very nice. I noticed that you guys had a roundabout whenever you come in, and I was just wondering, like, was there any thought to like why is it a four-way stop at Citrus and Indian School? There's hardly any traffic north and south. It's all east and west. The north and south is farmland, and I was just wondering, like, I know that we had I'm not quite sure what it's called, but when they put the thing out there so it can count how many cars are coming through, like a thing. So I was just curious, like, if anybody remembered that. That was a little while ago. But like, if there's any thought to maybe getting rid of the stop sign at Citrus and Camelback, or at least north and south, because it's a four-way stop for no reason, and which builds up traffic, or making it a roundabout. And I was just curious if that had ever been addressed before.
I'm going to
Manager?
ask that Steve Cinto, our engineering director, meet you here, and he can kind of get more information from you. And I don't know if there's ever been a roundabout considered there, but he will help take your information, and we'll get back to you on what we have evaluated there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it? Okay. All right, with that, will the city clerk please read the consent agenda items 1 through 8 by title only?
Number 1, approval of minutes. Number 2, authorize the expenditure of funds for CIP project number 60110, Rainbow Valley Water Reclamation Facility operational improvements. Number 3, adopt resolution number 2023-2305, authorizing the submission of an application for fiscal year 24-25 Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act grant funds to Department of Justice, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents relating to said application, and authorizing the city manager to execute a grant agreement if grant funds are awarded, and authorizing the city manager to approve the required budget transfer if grant funds are awarded. Number 4, approve the final plat of Camelback 303. Number 5, approve and authorize the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between Buckeye Valley Fire District and the city of Goodyear for backup ambulance services. Number 6, approve the final plat for Prologis 303 Goodyear. Number 7, approve conditional expenditures up to $485,300 for the cleanup of Bullard Wash between Interstate 10 and Gila River project number 60080. Number 8, approve the expenditure of funds for project number 42011, Cerevel Landscape Median Installation.
Thank you there. Does anyone on the council wish to remove an item from the consent?
I have a question on one of them, number 7.
Go ahead, number 7.
Is someone here to address item number 7, the expenditures for the cleanup of the Bullard Wash?
Here she comes.
Okay. Oh, I should have known. Good. Hi, Barbara. Hi. Sorry. Okay, my question, the only question I have, Barbara, I understand why we're doing it from I-10 South. I just want to make sure that we have enough money and that we are inspecting from north, because that's where we had the blockage before, and it flooded Pebble Creek, and it found out that half of it was Pebble Creek's fault and half of it was the city's fault. And I just want to make sure there's going to be funds available to check that water.
Yes, so this particular project is the unimproved portion of Bullard Wash, and we had some additional debris that was costing extra to haul off. So
Just
that's
like it
what you
did in the
see
north,
tonight,
yeah,
yeah.
Sure.
So that's what you see today.
Okay.
There is still a project to complete our exploration work and a possible improvement for the north side.
Perfect, okay.
Once we know exactly how much water is coming through
Okay,
there.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure it was still on our radar.
Yep.
Yes. No, you got another one?
Yeah, I just had a quick question on number 8. That might be a Hugh question.
It's awfully
So-
expensive.
The question on that one, I know there was a email sent out about what it was gonna look like. I just wanna verify, Hugh, is this median in parallel path with actually the full widening of Saraville? I know right now, when I drive down that road, it's 2 and 2 for a little while, then it bottlenecks down to 1, and then goes back to 2. And we improved that a little farther down the line, but it's not fully complete. So I was just curious if this is in parallel path with that project, or will it just be a median, and then we're gonna widen it fully in another CIP project down the line?
No, great question, Mayor, members of council, Councilmember Hampton. This median is the area that fronts the, just went blank, formerly Bennett Meadows. I
Oh,
can't
Curtis
remember.
Commons?
Yeah, north of Harrison. From Harrison, it's approximately a quarter mile from Harrison, and then up to, I can't remember the first subdivision further north. It's not Canyon Trails, it's,
Wildflower Ranch.
Well, there's Curtis, and
No.
there's Wildflower, and
yeah,
there's
it's
Bennett.
Curtis Commons to the south. It's the one that's just has a street. I apologize.
Curtis Commons.
Yeah, it's a little less than a quarter mile. So essentially, the area that was just developed is Bennett Meadows. That area that was developed on the west side, this covers that median that was built along that frontage. Because the other half, typically, when things are built out, that would have been done by Wildflower Ranch. Obviously, that was built quite some time ago. So the city's responsible for that other half of the median. That's why this is a CIP project.
So will that road be widened then at the same time? The
It's-
full 2 and 2?
I apologize. Yes, it's already widened on the west side, so currently we have 2 lanes on
Yeah.
each side. Bennett Meadows did their half-street improvements, they have 2 lanes there. This just completes the median in the center of the roadway.
Okay, I guess I'm just curious what the timeline is for the full 4 and 4 on both sides, east and west sides of that road.
So there's some other components to this as well. Clearly, this project has evolved over the years, various components to developers. There's another component further south that's not part of this project, that's developer. That is the, now known as, I believe it's Innovation Villas, or it may have gone another name change. It's immediately adjacent to Fry's Marketplace. That is currently a private project that will develop their half-street improvements, and I believe it has some median improvements as well. That project is still being developed as it's currently private-driven right now. We can't install a median in that area, as the half-street itself, the west side, hasn't been done yet by the developer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can figure out how to do it ahead of time as opposed to waiting for the developer, because it just gets somewhat unsafe there when you're heading down south to get the Fries, and it bottlenecks and then goes like this a few times. So just trying to get that Saraville street complete. I know there's a lot of streets that need work, but this has been something that has been in our CIP for quite a long time. So I just would like to finish at least the portion between Van Buren and Yuma, and if we need to do like we're doing now, and where we put it on the developer when it actually does start to get built, we finish the portion, and then we put it, then they know that they need to finish it when they come in. But that's what I would like in my perfect world. I'd love to see that completed fully. So especially for the people south of Goodyear there, that Fry's is highly popular. So, and I know we're widening and getting ready to widen portions, and of Van Buren, Yuma as well. So I'm just trying to help out that area. So just curious what the timeline was, but it sounds like we're not 100% sure, so.
Mayor and Council, I'm Troy Tobias, I'm the project manager on this one. And so one of the things that we've been working with is the developers. And so Miranda Crossing, which is this one, finally developed, and so we're able to do this median now, and we already did the traffic signal. In the meantime of doing this project, another developer came in to develop this innovative village, and so they've recorded their plat and they issued the permits. They're talking about a year to do their on-site and off-sites. And once they finish that and relocate those utilities on the west side, we'll be able to come in and construct this median. So we have a CCR in process to defer and make another project. We're anticipating them about a year from now being complete with theirs, which then will enable us to do the median. As part of this median on the yellow here, we are going to restripe northbound from Yuma all the way up to Harrison. And so we'll have 2 lanes south. One of the challenges that we have when we come over here by Fry's, when we do finish this little median area, is south of Yuma, we have to improve that. It's another project.
Yeah.
Until that intersection goes through there, then we still have this bottleneck that we can't send 2 lanes of traffic into the intersection. So there's still that needs to happen on those other projects to be able to finish right in front of Fry's and have the full 2 lanes going southbound. But we will have those 2 full lanes going northbound. It'll take about a month to complete this median project here, and at the end of that, we'll restripe this section so that we do have that northbound.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. I know there's growing pains as we keep expanding and kind of half this, half that, but as long as we can, put some focus and make it better little by little and make it a priority to widen those and make it safer for people that are driving down those roads, that'd be appreciated. But I'm okay with the project. I just had some clarification questions on the timing of everything. So, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a full street there. So, thank you.
Did you have same thing?
No. Yeah, same topic, but same topic, not the same question. So Troy, you just mentioned the intersection of Yuma and Saraville southbound is not built out for 2 lanes southbound, is that correct?
Yes.
So what's the timeline for that intersection improvement? I thought that was a CIP project for either this fiscal year or coming up in the next one. That's question 1, and I've got a second one.
Okay.
No, go ahead with, sorry.
Councilmember Stipp, members of council, my apologies. The widening project further south is Saraville Avenue from Elwood Street to Yuma. And what that does is widen, of course, the west side of Saraville Avenue. That project has just started design. I don't have the schedule off the top of my head. I can definitely provide that. But it's currently in design, and typically it's probably out there, completion is probably more out there, probably 2 to 3 years out there yet, as there is a lot of right-of-way that's needed along that, which happens to be in the county.
Okay, yeah, because we're generally about a year in design, and then we're 18 months at least for construction, so. And then you've got right-of-way acquisition and on top of that?
Yes, and the complicated part of that is a lot of that right-of-way, once you get south of approximately Watkins, is that property on the west side resides in the county. It just makes it a more complicated process and can take a little bit longer. Right. Typically, when we need to acquire right-of-way, typically that's looking at right now, I believe it's the quickest it can go. I believe what we're told is approximately 16 months. That's adding on to a typical design schedule.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that little nugget of information, I guess. It kind of gets to our greater transportation problem, which, is the scallop streets and all the rest of it that we're trying to unwind. That I think we're trying to spend the money quickly to fix these problems. So I guess I just generally say and hope that the council supports it, that we're trying to get that particular intersection probably needs to get done faster. Like we've really tried to accelerate Cotton Lane. This is probably the next one that really needs to have the accelerator pushed on it. So I appreciate that. My other question is actually for the manager and and finance. We were at one point trying to work on a cost recovery ordinance. Are we through that? Is that all in place? Are we ready to go? So that future Bennett Meadows and all, that we're ready to not let this be our future?
We have the cost recovery ordinance. Another suggestion is to do development agreements. And so that's quicker than a cost recovery. So we are working on that on Bullard and Van Buren, that portion of the road that we're widening there, and working with legal on the best approach.
I just
So
want to make sure.
we have two options.
So we have two tools in the
Yep.
toolbox on it.
Yep.
Perfect. That was my question. Thank you, Mayor.
Good? Again? Good? Everybody good? All right, so with that, can I get a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 8? See, I got a motion and a second. Go ahead and open up for the voting. Passes 7-0. Thank you. We're up on business. I would like to remind council, it would wait for the motion and a second for discussion. First item on business is approving the fiscal year 2024 annual public arts plan. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Joining me tonight is our Arts and Culture Commission Chairman, Fran Fee, and our Public Art Committee Chairman, Jen Barnes. And this evening, we're here to present the fiscal year 2024 annual public art plan. So we're very excited here to be able to share some highlights from the Arts and Culture Commission from things that have happened this fiscal year. We are here to share recommendations for fiscal year 2024. And just as a reminder, per our Public and Performing Arts Ordinance, the Arts and Culture Commission is to come before council annually to present their 2024, their immediate fiscal year recommendations, and to give you a future forecast to see what they're thinking of for like the next 5 fiscal years. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to our Chairman Fee.
Thank you, Guyleen. Good evening. As Guyleen mentioned, my name is Fran Fee, and I'm privileged and honored to serve as the chair of the Arts and Culture Commission. Our mission as a commission is to provide leadership through the arts to bring the community together to celebrate our diverse history, beliefs, cultures, and aspirations. We strive to beautify the city, create public dialogue, advance education, and inspire civic pride. We focus on public and performing arts and work to engage and support our community through art which creates a sense of place that enhances the quality of life for our citizens. Some of the highlights of the past year include the following. Under public art, we have 4 projects that were completed at 13 different sites. And we currently have 7 projects underway, which will be completed by the end of the fiscal year. Under the events area, we had 8 events with major art elements, which included Ballet Under the Stars, Chalk Art in the Park, the Lakeside Music Festival, Goodyear Rocks, Holiday on the Square, our first ever Juneteenth celebration, Theater in the Park, and Vision and Sound. On the programs side, we have programs for all ages, such as Creative Aging, which is for over 55 individuals, and junior art programs, such as the Follow Your Art Junior, which is a summer art program for young people. Fine art opportunities, we currently have 14 fine art exhibits per year. And our hot coffee lectures are held monthly with the exception of November and December, and they have been well attended. All of these continue to grow and will be discussed further in the presentation. Now I'd like to turn this over to Jen Barnes, who is chair of our Public Arts Committee.
Thank you so much, Fran. Hi, I'm Jen Barnes. Can you hear me okay? Sorry about that. I'm Jen Barnes, Chair of the Public Art Subcommittee. It's so nice to stand before you today to tell you about the vibrant public art program. The city has always been so supportive of our public art, and I'm very excited to continue to work with all of you, including our new council member as well. I'd first like to speak with you about what public art can do for our city. First, it creates a sense of place. Goodyear is known for its beautiful and abundant public art, as well as its events and performances. I have a friend that's taken her son's photo at each of the painted hearts. That's how much she loves them. She's posted them on social media. I'm sure you've also seen several photo shoots right here in GSQ utilizing our banner sculpture, Great Joy. Second, public art enhances and beautifies the built environment, adding splashes of color and vibrant imagery to our city. An example is that we get so many positive compliments about our traffic cabinets, as they showcase original artwork on so many of our intersections. They are so popular. They are widely and easily viewed and bring art to everybody that passes them. They've also inspired many other cities to start similar programs, having Goodyear as a leader in bringing more art to the West Valley. Third, public art instills community pride. People love to be from a place that is beautiful and has a lot to offer. When I say I'm from Goodyear, people say, ooh, I love that place. With the incredible growth in many West Valley cities, our public art really makes Goodyear stand out by being attractive and inviting. Fourth, public art provides cultural and social value. We provide arts and activities that appeal to all ages. So many of our art projects, installations, and live demonstrations are interactive and invite people in to experience art no matter what their knowledge or talent level is. Art in Goodyear is for everybody. Fifth, it increases economic attractiveness and promotes development. People want to be part of a vibrant, attractive city, which Goodyear is. Finally, it establishes a culture of art throughout Goodyear. We are helping lead the way by establishing a high-quality art and arts events, and they are part of Goodyear's identity, in the hope that it inspires both the public and private sectors to actively participate, adding to the beauty of the city. Next, I will speak to you about our public art goals, what we accomplish through public art. First, public art drives economic growth. Having spaces, roads, and parks that are beautified with art encourages businesses to locate within Goodyear. If you're relocating a company, wouldn't you want a beautiful location you'd be proud to call your home? Beauty also attracts tourism. We have unique spaces and sculptures that people travel to experience. I'm sure you've seen all the selfies on social media with our artworks in them. Second, public art builds a culture of art. We have and engage quite a list of our own talented artists to contribute to our city. We also love exploring the best ways of installing our artworks so that it not only complements our urban environment, but it's also accessible to many people. On that note, third, public art provides art for all. We have engaging and innovative programming for all demographics of residents, from students in Follow Your Art Junior to seniors in creative aging. And our fourth goal is to advance public art within the community. Our vision is to not only focus on permanent structures, but also provide temporary art experiences. One way we will be growing public art is pop-up experiences in our parks and facilities. Another way is through temporary installations. A great example is the live painting demonstrations that resulted in the beautiful Veterans Day murals displayed right here at GSQ. The artists are right here on our lawn, painting throughout the week prior to our Veterans Day event. Then the finished works were enjoyed by the public at the event. We'd also like to advance public art through the continued development of our online Points of Pride story map. This website features our public art in an online format in which visitors can locate and experience our wide collection of public artworks from home. We are looking forward to its continued development, as well as adding to it every year as our collection grows for all to experience. Thank you all again so much for your part in these programs. And now I'd like to turn it over to Fran.
Some of the completed art projects that I'd like to bring to your attention, excuse me. The Bullard Wash murals, the Heart of Goodyear. There are 10 hearts, as you all know. They've been resurfaced and repainted. The Veterans Day murals, as Jen mentioned, the temporary art installation that honored our veterans. 10 were completed by local West Valley artists and were on display here at GSQ. The Gallery 37 project, is a project where teens worked with a master artist, Daniel Nez, to design and create a beautiful gabion cactus, which is in place at Estrella Foothills Park. And if you look at your pictures, you can see that there. We are continuing to beautify the city with projects that are currently in the works, and most will be completed, as I said earlier, by the end of the fiscal year. Under Buller Wash Park, the Imagine This Place, which is an interactive series of sculptures located right behind City Hall along the sidewalk. On Fire Station 188, it's called Just Add Water, and it will accent the walls of the station with imagery of plants, animals, and water. The historic parking lot screen at Litchfield Road and Western Avenue. Light pole banners. I understand that 4 new banners were hung this week. I unfortunately haven't seen them yet. The Goodyear Police sculpture. The bollards at Goodyear Community Park. This project, with council support, allowed us to bring in a high school teacher and her students to paint these bollards, which helped make a good impression on our community. And traffic signal cabinets. 8 more will soon be added around the city. There will be a total of 31 cabinets, either painted or wrapped, upon completion of the new ones. These continue to beautify our city. Thank you, and now I'll turn it back to Guyleen.
Thank you, Fran. All right, so it's been a busy year for the Arts Commission. They have done quite a few projects, events, and really made an impact. You can see everything they're doing when you're just out driving around the city. And so this next section, we're going to talk about project recommendations for fiscal year 2024 and a forecast for beyond. I will point out that on each of these slides, you're going to see a recommended funding level. That's on there as just context for what's being recommended from the Arts Commission. With the adoption of this plan tonight, we are not approving any budget for these projects. Any budget in the expenditures for those projects would be approved during our annual budget process. All right, so the first project on here is the Estrella Parkway Bridge. And I'm sure everyone in here is really excited about the expansion of this bridge. We are fortunate to have selected an artist. Her name is Barbara Grigutis. She is from Tucson, Arizona. She has done many transportation projects nationally. She is amazing, and we're excited to have her as part of the team. She's going to be working with the team starting now as they design this bridge so that the aesthetic enhancements can be incorporated into the designs of that bridge and to really make it a beautiful place for Goodyear, as this is kind of a gateway to South Goodyear. And so this project is a recommended funding level of $590,000, and that artwork will be incorporated in the whole construction of that bridge. Our next project that you see here is Fire Station or Public Service Station 182. This is the fire station that you see up in the Estrella community. It is this picture down on the bottom left corner here. That is what you see from Estrella Parkway. And this station does not have a public art installation at it. It's a great location, and we're looking at the screen wall. It's that wall you can see the box cutout windows along it. We would like to see a mosaic mural installed on this screen wall. And the great thing with this project, we're recommending a funding level of $65,000. We would love to bring an artist in to work directly with those that work out of that station and the community surrounding it, to have them not only just drive the design of what that mural will be, but to have them fully engage in the project, where they're making the tiles for that project, they're installing those tiles, and really have some ownership for this project, because it really will define the community, and it's in a beautiful location to really just enhance everybody's view as they're going through there. Jen spoke a little bit about our pop-ups in the park. The mural experience at Veterans Day was a huge success for our community. Our veterans at our event were so proud to have those murals dedicated to them at that event. And we would like to continue with doing the mural experience for Veterans Day. It was such a hit, we'd like to actually do it twice per year. We'd love to do a spring temporary mural installation as well as the Veterans Day mural installation. And while we're on that, we talk about different types of public art. There's permanent structures, permanent installations, there are temporary installations, but these pop-up experiences that people can come and have. And so we really want to explore these pop-up experiences further. So with this request, we're requesting $51,000. We would be able to do the 2 mural experiences, plus we'd like to do 4 pop-up experiences within the park, maybe at some of our events, to really introduce people to some public art and some arts experiences that they didn't even, it was just a surprise and you showed up and had this part, because that's what really makes things memorable for people when they're visiting our city. The last project that we're requesting for the next fiscal year is to continue with the traffic cabinets. As Fran shared, at the end of this fiscal year, we will have 31 aesthetically enhanced cabinets. We'd like to add 10 more to that. This has been a great project. We began in 2018 doing these cabinets. Our city continues to grow. We'll continue having traffic signal cabinets throughout the city. And it's a great way for artists to work directly, whether it's with a residential area or a business corridor, to really give some personality to those spaces in our city and make us unique. We still continue on making sure we're identifying the right cabinets at the right time. We look for cabinets that are on improved corners. You know, we don't want to embellish something that's in a corner that still needs to be developed. And we're looking for places with great view corridors and making sure that the people in those areas can enjoy those. All right, so moving on, a future forecast. So the commission has really been paying attention to where we're developing and some of the exciting things happening in the city. And so two areas that are of great interest to the Arts and Culture Commission are this area here at GSQ as well as the Ballpark Village corridor. So the first one is looking at doing an art trail at GSQ. And so we have the starts of a great art trail. Bullard Wash, we have our Heart of Goodyear, we have murals. We're going to have Imagine This Place along the pathway between City Hall and Bullard Wash, moving on into Civic Square Park with Great Joy that has over 1,000 residents' words on the surface of that artwork. This development for GSQ is going to continue just east of us between 150th and Bullard. And Goodyear Way is going to be working through that development and what that looks like. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for public art to be installed along that area, and we see this as an opportunity to highlight this as Art Trail at GSQ, or Art Trail of Goodyear. It's going to be a great way to attract some cultural tourism to our area, and so we're really excited to continue on with the public art that we've already have installed. The final area is our Ballpark Village corridor. This is another very exciting opportunity and a great place for our city as this is going to develop. We have been fortunate in this area. Some of the developers in that area have already committed to including public art in their developments and their signage and putting murals there. We want to continue focusing that, being able to aesthetically enhance our infrastructure that's in that area. And we also want to keep an eye on what that development around the stadium looks like, because there'll be lots of great opportunities to use public art, again, art as a tool, to make sure that we are keeping up with our trends and keeping with this trend that we have in our city of being beautified with public art. So, Mayor and Council, we are really happy that we're able to share with you some impact of arts and culture on our city and what our project recommendations are for fiscal year 2024. And at this time, we ask for your approval of the fiscal year 2024 annual public art plan, and that concludes our presentation.
Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? Seeing none. Can I get a motion and a second? Let's see, I have a motion on the board. I'm looking for the second. Oh, I see a second. All right. With that, go ahead, open it for speak, and we've got them across the board here. So start off here, Councilmember Stipp.
I'm gonna, wow, that was difficult.
Get it going there, Bill. Come on, let's get it going.
I don't know what just happened. I want to address this, obviously, to Guyleen, but it is really to the entire Arts and Culture Commission, so I don't want to just single one person out, but from a non-art, I say this every year, but from the non-art guy to the rest of the art community, thank you very much for all that you're doing for the city. Everybody really loves it. I also want to thank you for getting my project out early, so that we're not rushing at the last minute and hopefully seeing it done before the end of the fiscal year. That's exciting. And please start looking for the next fiscal year's project, because I will do the same with that discretionary funding as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Gillis?
Jen, thanks for that warm welcome. I appreciate that. And many of you know that I'm a former entertainer, so I'm all about all the art stuff. I love, love, love the traffic cabinets. I think they're fabulous. I think that really is able to show what the artist is trying to portray. And I think 10 more would be fabulous. So you have my support on that. Great, great job, you guys. Looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Councilmember Loretano.
It's going to sound like a broken record here. Thank you all for all the work you do. I really do think that arts and culture and parks, that's the heart of your community, and that's what's really important and makes people happy and want to live here. So thank you, and you see it every day. I love all the events. Like she was saying, Vicki, about the traffic cabinets. I love those. Those just brighten up my day. You know, when you drive by them, they're so colorful. And the hearts, I love that you've changed those out. I would just, one suggestion, we had that gentleman come in from Mobile who was talking about the heart in Mobile. So maybe when we add, I don't know if this is something that's possible, we could add a heart down in Mobile by the fire station at some point that shows that culture and their story down there to show that we are inclusive with their heart too, that they're part of Goodyear and part of our heart as well, even though they're farther away. I think that would be something great. So I love everything you do. I'll be talking to you. I have discretionary funds this year as well that I don't use anywhere. So we'll be talking. So thank you very much.
Vice Mayor Kano.
This is always one of my favorite presentations every year, and I love how active the commission is. You are really doing a lot to enhance the quality of life, which is certainly a huge component. But you're also enhancing Goodyear's brand, and just want to thank you for your innovation that you do. You know, Mayor Pizzillo, before he was mayor as a council member, was a tireless advocate for the traffic cabinet. So he really pushed for that. And just to see how that has come to fruition is just such an enhancement to our community. And like you said, others are doing it too. And the quality of art in the whole West Valley is definitely rising. I also wanted to acknowledge the gentleman from Mobile. I'm glad that the commission was here to hear it because we've learned that there's such a historical significance to that region. And I don't know if we still have the Goodyear Mobile History Museum, but if so, it might include a slide or a presentation on Mobile because there is such a significance. And was also thinking about how we can include their story, whether it's in Juneteenth or some sort of art or historical acknowledgement in Mobile for what they stand for. Again, your great work, thanks to Chairman Fee and the subcommittee chair, Public Arts Subcommittee Barnes. Great work, and thank you to all the committee.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, I just also want to say thank you to the team, to the Arts Commission. I really appreciate all your hard work. Art is definitely very important to me and also to the community. It definitely sets a sense of place for the whole community to enjoy. I do always look forward to these presentations, and I think that we have a reputation in the West Valley as being more art-focused than maybe some of our peers, and I'd like to continue that reputation. So no, I appreciate it. I have some one-off questions that I can probably ask later, but I think they're all great projects and looking forward to it all in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Campbell.
Well, I'm almost the last to speak. There's not much more to say, but Fran knows how supportive I am of the arts just because we have such an active arts community in the Pebble Creek community. But I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask. For the heart, how many more are you going to be able to add? How many do we actually have, and how many more are we going to have?
Mayor, Councilmember Campbell, at this time we have 10 hearts throughout the city. We didn't have adding additional hearts to our art plan for fiscal year 2024, but I did hear the recommendation from Councilmember Loretano, and we may be able to explore what that looks like to add additional hearts. But at this time, we have 10 installed in the city.
Okay, so then I'm so sorry. So the second page that I'm looking at is stuff that's already been done, and that's how much we've already spent.
That is correct. And
Okay.
so this fiscal year, we repainted the 10 hearts
Yes.
from the Decades theme to Goodyear the Beautiful.
Okay.
And that's what was completed this year.
Okay, great. And my next question is that when we go to do the Estrella Parkway Bridge, not that we can do it, but I envision something similar to the 83rd Avenue in Peoria, how they've done the blue lights and the whatever, and it's really a lovely addition. And if we want to really make it spectacular, we need to see it at nighttime as well, and maybe we could do some solar things. I mean, I know we can't run electricity out there, but it's just, that would be a wonderful thing to do. And we're going to have the bridge open while we work on each side, so it'll be probably tricky, but to design both sides at the same time, so that when we actually open the bridge, it's all done on however she is going to design it. And my next question real quickly is for the Ballpark Village, I personally appreciate you watching that project, because I was not thrilled with their logo, the BV logo. It reminded me of a bottle of wine, because a winery is BV. And I was thinking of something more spectacular. So we may have to, as the city, add more art to keep up. I don't want another Ziz. Truthfully, one Ziz is enough. But I think it would be wonderful if we really kept an eye out there, because, we can also put art out in front of the apartments where the Indians and, what are they called?
Guardians.
Sorry, Guardians and the Reds are building their home apartments for their players, and it would be nice to have something out there, perhaps in the baseball theme or something, but there's a lot of possibility in that area, because we don't really have hardly any art out there. So thank you very much. We appreciate all that you do, and it's tough, and your vision is not necessarily our vision, but you're doing a wonderful job. So thank you so very much.
Did you want again?
Thank you.
My seatmate over here was just explaining to me that I need to tell you now that apparently I have $2,500, so if we want to do the heart, I can tell you to use my money. So is that how this works, Lynette?
Mayor, Councilmember Loretano, that's where my brain, I think, was already going. So we will reach out to you and see what we can get done.
Okay, so that.
So how much is one heart? I mean, how much are we talking about here?
Mayor, Councilmember Campbell, I don't want to just put a number out there. We did those hearts about 3 years ago. I don't know if the costs have changed. So let me go ahead and get some total costs for us.
Because I was going to say, the money we get isn't that much. So is that a half a heart?
I think
Sherry to finish the heart.
It's one aorta.
I think it's feeling like half a heart, honestly, and so we'll see. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
let us
there's
know.
I'm sure there's avenues where we can explore that. I think it was a great recommendation, and
Yeah.
we just need to be able to go look at that area and see, where it could be installed. I would like to share also that for Juneteenth, we have a planning committee, resident-driven planning committee for that event, and we have been in touch. We're reaching out to the members from the Mobile community to incorporate some of that historical pieces in that event, as well as we do still have the Mobile Museum.
Can you go back about 4 slides real quick? I think it's 4. Keep going. One more. I think it's one more.
It's okay.
Yeah, one more. Daggone it.
Is it the cabinet?
One more? No, it's a cabinet.
Oh, it's the traffic cabinet.
No, okay, go forward. It's a traffic cabinet.
There's
I think it's one more. Forward. Traffic cabinet.
Keep going. Oh, dang.
There it is.
Here we are.
That's it.
I'm- The far right one down to the bottom right, I'm just fascinated with that art. That is awesome. I don't know who the artist is, but
Oh, the
that,
hummingbird?
that
Yeah.
cabinet with the lady, with the lady on it to the right.
Mayor, that's Christy Moeller. She
That-
is an amazing artist.
So
It
that-
is
that-
fascinating.
That is awesome. For somebody who can't even do stickmen, I'm impressed when I see all of this, and I'm really pleased to see where these cabinets have gone, because I hear so many positive things when I'm out in the community about the cabinets, liking those. So from my perspective, the more of those that we can do to dress up the community on, areas that are developed, I really enjoy. But I'm 100% behind you all. You make great decisions on art. So with that, I think we have everything taken care of. Let's see, we've got a motion on there, right, in a second. Can we get a vote? Passes 7-0. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Next item for business to consider approving a grant pass-through agreement with the City of Phoenix. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Christine McMurdy, Project Management Coordinator for the Engineering Department. The action tonight, as you just heard, is to pass through the FTA funding that is secured for the WeRide service. But I'm going to take this opportunity to give you an update on how the service is going. So we started our service on November 14th, so Friday is our 6-month anniversary. These are our critical markers. These are our key performance indicators. Overall, we're doing well, but there's room for growth. So I'm going to get out and do a little bit more marketing. As ridership increases, I watch the quality indicators that you see here so that we're tracking the same, so that we're not losing any of those really important factors for our passengers. So pick up on time, drop off on time, and our ratings, those are the biggies. You're seeing total passengers completed, 2,513. It actually has gone up a little bit more than that. I had to submit this presentation a little bit early, but every month since we started, we've increased. So the number of riders in November was 37, because we had half a month of service. In December, it was 66. January was 70. February was 75. And I'm very happy to tell you that in March, we got to 119 riders served. That's really just makes me feel so good. Okay, so pick up on time, drop off on time ratings, but then bottom right-hand corner, service provided for wheelchair accessible vehicles is equivalent to service provided for folks that do not require a wheelchair. With Dial-A-Ride and Ride Choice, we have to abide by the Americans with Disabilities Act, which means for every transit service out there, you have to provide an equal level of service for those folks that have some level of disability. So this is an excellent number for us to see because we are providing the same kind of service regardless of whether you need a wheelchair or not. So where are we riding? Yes, indeedy. We do have a lot of people that do like to come to Goodyear Civic Square, and you cannot fault them. This is an absolutely beautiful location in Goodyear. So reflecting back on the 3 studies that got us here, the Citizen Satisfaction Survey, the Community and Neighborhood Services Master Plan, and the Avondale Goodyear Transit Study, among them the common thread was we need to provide flexible transit. We need to get residents to and from work that allows them to make stops for groceries, retail, childcare, any of those needs, and that's what WeRide does. According to the list on the right, we are hitting these areas. These are our top 10. In a manager's update, I gave you top 20, and I'll probably continue to give you some kind of an update as we go further, as we get nearer to the end of our pilot year. The bubbles on the left, those are our virtual stops. That means we're picking up and dropping off from these locations, but keep in mind that passengers may be walking from a location somewhat around that bubble to get there. That's the nature of a virtual stop. It's a transit service, it's not a car service. So there is a little bit of travel involved to get there, but the stop that they've requested is the closest to their destination. And for any of the retail locations here, restaurants, entertainment, supermarkets, any of that, we are delivering them to the ADA parking spot that is right in front of the business. So while in the neighborhoods it may be a little bit of a walk, we're still going to get them where they need to go to the door. And some are So Walmart, Fry's, Target, EOS, these are definitely right at the door destinations. But I also want to point out the Park and Ride. So the Park and Ride is actually our transfer point. If you are a Goodyear customer and you need to get to the Avondale zone, you take a ride on the Goodyear location to the Goodyear Park and Ride, and then you transfer there to get a ride to Avondale. This works just the same for Avondale residents. As we all know, Goodyear has been blessed with 2 Target stores. Avondale residents want to get to our Targets. So they're able to do that by transferring through the Park and Ride. And here's where I commence the love for our digital communications team. Tammy's not in the room. Corinne Holliday, Mary Manning, Jeff Knurk, Jordan Bird, Nicole Constantino. Beautiful, creative, eye-catching materials. We've created and distributed business cards, flyers, videos, postcards, utility bill inserts, and the van is popping up on the electronic billboard out at the Park and Ride too. We recently added on the back of the van a sticker that says only $2, because we found that the van is actually its own little marketing device. With the QR code on both sides of the vehicle, people are able to snap a picture and grab down the website and be able to set up service with us. RideCo is our technology partner on this pilot. Their staff their team has a marketing person, so we work with them to offer free trips through customer referrals and dormant accounts. Dormant accounts are something we just recently noticed. We had a whole bunch of people that downloaded the app when the service first started, but for whatever reason may not have taken a trip. So we've kind of poked them a little bit and said, hey, if you go ahead and book a trip with us, we'll give you a free ride. We actually give them 2 free rides. So that's another incentive. And then upcoming, April 21st, is Earth Day, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be offering free rides all day on WeRide to celebrate Earth Day. The other thing I need to do now is get out to the businesses and talk about how their recruiters can promote WeRide to their workforce through first and last mile options. And I'm going to describe what that is. So we have 2 buses that come through Goodyear through the regional Valley Metro system. That's Route 3 on Van Buren and Route 17 on McDowell Road. Route 3 ends its service, turns around to go to Phoenix at Central Avenue, so it's barely touching Goodyear's border. But we can get folks from that stop to the front door of their business for $1. And so we are promoting that service through the recordings on the buses, and we have signs up at some of the bus stops that give that information to the passengers. Same thing with Route 17. You can take it to, McDowell and Dysart, McDowell and Litchfield, McDowell and Bullard, McDowell and Estrella. At any one of those locations, you can get your final trip, your last mile of service through WeRide by just downloading the app and then booking the trip. I had this conversation recently with a new business that's going to be opening in July along the Bullard corridor. He was pretty excited about it because he didn't realize that even though there's no regional best service that comes closer to where he is, he still has an option to get people to the front door. So that's my next marketing effort, is to maybe focus a little more on the businesses and make sure that they understand that even though we do have just the 2 regional buses, we're still going to do that last little bump to get folks to the front door. Here's the marketing that I don't need to do. Our drivers are absolutely golden. They love their jobs because the stress is low, they are treated well by their employer, and the customers really appreciate them. We're also getting some very helpful feedback in the way of maybe some adjustments that we might need for the service. For instance, I expected a shorter wait time was a comment, but another comment was, I wasn't ready for my ride. So if we start seeing more of one versus the other, that means we may need to go back to the way we have the system set up, go back to that algorithm, and maybe adjust it by a minute or 2 or a second or 2, and see what that reaction is. And that is the beauty of this service. When you're riding on a Valley Metro bus, it takes 4 to 6 months to make a change to service. We can make a change to a WeRide service overnight. And we're really grateful for that ability because it again, provides so much flexibility for us and our customers. Okay. I don't know about you, but the weather report I listened to this morning said that we may be looking at 100 degrees tomorrow. I think we skipped spring and went right to summer. But this is a very important hurdle for us to climb right now, and we've spent a lot of time talking about it. How do we help people get around in the heat? A lot of our marketing ideas come from other transit agencies that have a similar service. So we reached out to California agencies. These promotions are actually from RTC in Nevada, and this is what they did last year. We're looking real close at that $1 summer youth fair. And then we're also reaching out to the high schools. I actually reached out to Desert Edge today. I had a great meeting with the principal about a month ago, and just reminded them to let those juniors and those graduating seniors know that WeRide is their summer job transportation solution. That is also their opportunity to get to the rec center and get to the library and maybe transfer to the Route 3. I'm not going to continue to sound like a mother right now, so I'll stop coming up with suggestions. But we're going to really work hard to try to encourage the folks that ride with us, so far, to continue doing that in the summer. We're even looking at maybe some umbrellas that have UV protection, possibly giving those out to some of our customers. So we're brainstorming some of these ideas so that we can continue the momentum forward and increase our ridership. And Mayor, that is my last slide, so I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second? I've got a motion and I got a second. Let's see, first up is Councilmember Gillis. You're up.
I just have a couple questions. Do we have monthly pass yet?
We're working on it. Thank you. I apologize. I didn't mention that.
No, I just saw it in the
Yeah,
invitation.
Mayor, Councilmember Gillis, right. So we're trying to decide between doing something on our own right now or waiting for Valley Metro. We're doing a lot of coordination with Valley Metro. To be able to include everything on one card improves, again, the flexibility of the service, allowing people to get further faster.
Right.
But yes, we are talking about the monthly pass. My colleague from Avondale is watching. He was very appreciative of the art as well.
Great.
So he's probably hearing this, and I imagine we'll be talking about it before the end of the week.
So by when, do you think?
I would say probably within the next 2 or 3 months, but we're also working with our new friend Surprise will be part of the WeRide family effective Thursday.
Okay, great.
So they are implementing the same service, and we want to be able to all mirror what we're doing. So we're going to have that conversation collectively.
So hopefully by summer.
Yeah,
so
that is our goal.
we
We're
can
trying to get to
people-
summer,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the other thing is you're not going to Stray Mountain Ranch yet, right?
Not yet.
And so how soon do we think, because there's a lot of people up there asking me about this.
I get those questions
I
as
know.
well. This pilot is scheduled to end in November. I've put a feeler or two out to the company that provides the service just to see how we would do that. It's very different from the service here because of the 8-mile gap between the center of Goodyear and. So what we really need to know from people from Estrella is where do they need to go? That's going to be a very important part of this. So when they do ask you, please ask them where they need to go.
They just don't want to be left out.
Absolutely, I understand.
But where they want to go, that's what you want to know.
Where do they need to go? Because that's going to help us plan how we're going to provide that level of service. The distance involved makes it challenging to meet a guarantee, and that's something that we really do focus on with this service, where we guarantee that your arrival is going to be at a certain time. So the computer is kind of the guide here, and we have to give it the correct information. So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, if somebody, when we did sort of a little bit of a demo and we had this conversation, he said to me, so where would you have people go? And I said, well, let's just take it from the Safeway Shopping Center up there. Maybe we have a dedicated ride or a scheduled ride every hour that goes to the Super Target down at Cotton.
Right.
Or goes to Abrazo Medical Center at noon. There's a couple of different ways to do this,
Right.
but not knowing where people need to go, it makes it a little more challenging to try to cover every scenario. So where they need to go is very, very important. So if you do get those questions, I would really like that feedback.
Okay. All right, I think it's great. I've said I've liked this whole thing from the very, you know that. I've liked it from the beginning.
Great.
And I've passed out a lot of cards, and it's going very well. I just want to try to get a Stray Mountain Ranch in there.
Understood.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Brandon?
Yeah, I really appreciate this as a user of it. It's been really a great experience for me and my family to travel within that zone. So, and I've been trying to pass out the cards to like the mechanics shops and things like that
Thank
for
you.
people that are going back and forth. So it's very user friendly. To your point, the staff is great, and I really enjoy using it right from my house. So I could probably use it more, but it's been really, really good. So I've been wanting to test it out and try it and use it. So it's been great. So I had a quick question though. What you said the teens can use it? What's the youngest age that
So-
someone can use that?
For a point of guidance, where we have set it up that we prefer passengers to be over the age of 16, we are not policing that. What we're finding is that there's some teens that are 14 years old that sure do look like they could pass for a much older teen. In a lot of cases, too, some of those teens have those rides set up by a parent. So that's the other reason that we've kind of relaxed this, just to see, since it is a pilot, we're testing whether we can go, maybe get a little more flexible on the age. But 16 is technically where we start, that they can ride alone.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, because I'm in that zone, so it'd be convenient for my child to go to the rec center, for example.
Right.
During the summertime here, or the pool, or things like that. So,
To your point, it's a shared ride service, so it's the kind of thing that we would hope that whoever is using the service understands that there may be a stop either on the way or coming back, and just that the passengers understand that.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. Like I said, I know you keep expanding it, and I know the community of Pebble Creek will be pretty excited to have this sooner than later as well. I know like everybody wants it. It's a great program. So yeah, I'm looking forward to our discussion. I think you said November.
We'll be back. I'll be back
when the
before you
pilot ends
before
and we
November. Yeah.
reevaluate and have all the data from the pilot section.
Yes.
But yeah, I tell everybody about it, at least in the zone, since I'm the only one that lives in the zone on the council here. So I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hampton.
Vice Mayor Kano?
Christine, I don't have any questions. I just want to make a couple comments. First, I always appreciate your passion and professionalism for the work that you do. And I just am so delighted every time I see a We Ride van scooting around town, very respectfully, cautious drivers, I will say, not running lights and things like that. I have heard from a friend named Mary who's also talked to you.
Yes, she
She
has.
has disabled adults in her household. She rides out of Avondale. But it's been such a big impact on helping them to get to their jobs.
If I may, I wanted to share with all of you, Mary did contact me, and she's definitely in the Avondale area, and she did talk about how the developmentally disabled adults that are living with her, how they're getting to jobs, which is so exciting. But she also asked, how do we get We Ride to Litchfield Park? So I explained the whole government process to her. She's a realtor, which is fantastic. She's very familiar with the area. But she actually had a meeting with the city manager last week. And as a result, I have about 6 long questions to answer for him, and that's what I'll be working on tomorrow. So we're going to share that information with Litchfield Park and see if there's any way they can join the We Ride family.
That is wonderful news, and it just shows the power of citizen activism.
Yes.
And I know that she wanted to get her the young men over to their jobs in those shopping centers,
Right.
and which helps Litchfield Parks
Yep.
as well. So that's very, very good news. And I just want to commend this council for being so innovative to approve this pilot, and this is quickly becoming an essential service, and I'm just very, very grateful for the work that's being done.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilmember Hampton? No, no, Campbell. We got to say Hampton.
That's okay. So Christina, my only request is that before November, we seriously look at expanding the service. If we're gonna do it all south again, which every time we do a pilot, it's always south. It's always south. It's never been in the north, and we totally ignore those folks, and that's our largest population area. And as Brandon said, especially Pebble Creek, we have a lot of folks that are in there that need rides to doctors, and you want to know where they're going. So they would be probably, I'm guessing, to Sun City or something because they're going to doctors, or maybe they're even coming down to Brazos. I don't know. But we can certainly do a citizen survey as a city. We certainly can do a very active outreach to find out where our residents need to go to tailor this. Now that we know it works, this is, we've been working on this thing before I ever got on council to get some type of a dial-a-ride for these folks. And I've got some folks that say we'd love to come to a council meeting, but they don't come and get us. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
I know, and if it costs us money, then as a city, we need to step up and do it.
Mayor, Councilmember Campbell, two things. First, ride choice is still an option for any ADA certified, which is for the public, ADA certified, and we actually are encouraging ride choice also for some of our WeRide customers who are in the zone but maybe can't walk that far to get to a stop. So I want to make sure everybody understands that ride choice is still an available option, including Pebble Creek. But yes, I have had the conversation with our partners that provide the service because there's a portion of Pebble Creek or all of Pebble Creek that's gated, and how we would manage that. And
it's all gated, but y'all can get in without any issue whatsoever.
We are. Yeah. I checked with them because I know that is just a quirk a little bit unique about the rest of the city. And there are gated communities in Estrella as well. So it was something that we had not looked at because there are no gated communities in the zone that we're in right now. However, there is a way to do that, but I have the same request. If they can tell us where they need to go so that we can understand better where we're going to be taking them, whether that's in a current zone, the zone that we have right now, or if it is outside that zone, as you correctly pointed out, there's a lot of people that need to go beyond the city of Goodyear. So we want to make sure we understand better. If anything, there may be an opportunity to connect using the city of Surprise as an example between the two zones.
So they go up to Sun City West where Banner Boswell is.
I understand.
And they go to Banner Estrella in that area.
We do serve Banner Estrella.
Yeah.
We do serve it as what we call.
But you don't pick up in Pebble Creek, and you can't take them over there.
I apologize. Yes, that is correct. But just for the council's information, we did add Banner Estrella because it's actually a very popular request. So it's a dedicated trip. When somebody asks for it, we do give it to them. All they do, though, is they take them straight there and straight back. We do not service the surrounding area. And it's just, again, to accommodate folks that have a medical need.
Okay. So, City Manager, do we have anyone on staff that can design a Survey Monkey for me that I can send out to my 12,000 people on my email group?
I believe there's a way we can
Thank you very much.
do a
So that
survey.
we ask the right questions, so that we give it to her and that's it?
Yes.
Thank you. And we could send it also to Estrella.
Yes, it'd be both Pebble Creek and Australia, already working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Loretano.
Thank you very much. It's a great program, and I guess it's great to see that it's so successful that it's kind of leaking out to other jurisdictions. So I think that's a great help. I would agree with Councilmember Gillis and Councilmember Campbell. Obviously, we've had this conversation before about Australia is pretty much a transportation desert. We can't get Uber. We have no city buses. We have no shuttle. I mean, you cannot get from that little mountaintop unless you have a car. We do have gated communities. We have older folks. I can tell you basically the hubs that people need to go right now. Obviously, the younger people would want to go to the library and to the rec center and to the baseball when there's games going on. And obviously, the hospital hub would be something. The medical corridor would be an area. And then the shopping, there's a couple shopping hubs that, I think would be important. So I think that kind of covers the hub. And if it's however we can draft that, I really would definitely support whatever funding that we need to do to include Estrella in that, because we are kind of left out over there. And I think it's really important we get those people connected to the city. But it's a great program, and I'm glad, I know it's a pilot still, but I'm really grateful for all your work. The question is, with Surprise coming online in Litchfield and now us in Avondale, is there some larger umbrella that's going to start connecting all these little hubs? Are we going to be like, you can take my We Ride from Goodyear to Surprise? I mean, is this the plan at some point as we fill in?
Mayor, council members, STIP is sending you mental information right now because as the Valley Metro board member who will be the chair effective June of the board, July 1, thank you. Yeah, so what we're hoping, and we've had ongoing conversations with Valley Metro about this, is as we continue to build the service, that Valley Metro can come in, pick it up, and run it on our behalf, so that we're not providing additional staff as, all those things that make it a burden for us to continue to provide and grow. It will be picked up by Valley Metro at some point. What they're doing right now is looking in the West Valley for a bus operations facility, and those conversations are really picking up some speed. As you know, that anything that you try to bring forward requires a design and, some environmental and a whole bunch of other things, and they're using federal dollars, so it's going to take a little bit longer because of that, but we're within like a 3-year window of when they might be able to pick this up off of us now, once we build it and run with it. And we're really kind of hoping that that is going to happen.
That would be great, because
It would be
just kind
great.
of be seamless throughout
Yes.
the whole West Valley.
Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for all you're doing. I appreciate the success you're having, and people are actually using it, and I suspect it's going to continue to expand.
I
So,
appreciate the trust of you, Mayor, and the City Council in trying something brand
You
new.
have it. With that, can we go ahead and open the voting? Passes 7-0. Thank you very much. The next item on business is to consider adopting amendments to Chapter 15 of the City Code. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, Council Member, Steve Correcchia, Planning Manager. Do have an amendment to the subdivision regulations tonight for your consideration. And just a little background, subdivision regulations, the city regulates all subdivision of land within our jurisdiction. That was adopted in 1994, but since then we've had several amendments. One of those most recent was in 2021, where we looked at the requirement for pre-plats and waiving that for those subdivisions of 10 or fewer lots, and also looking at preliminary plat and final plat approvals, the extensions of having that at a staff level versus taking that all the way to the council. And again, both of those resulting in time savings and efficiencies for both applicants and staff. And so staff took in October of last year before the council, we asked for your direction on several more process improvements, one of those being related to the approval of pre-plats. Right now, pre-plats are approved by the City Council. They go through Planning and Zoning Commission and then ultimately through City Council. Goodyear is the exception in that regard. We looked at 10 other cities in the valley, and right now 4 of them pre-plats stop at staff and the other 6 stop at Planning and Zoning Commission. So with that, staff looked at a potential efficiency, and tonight we're proposing that pre-plat approval will stop at the staff level. And some of the benefits that were looked at with this endeavor, applicants could save at least 1 to 2 months of time, that being the time period from when staff kind of gives a technical approval till when it ultimately gets before the council. There'll also be staff departmental efficiencies as well. To bring an item before the council, it does take significant time from DSD staff, city clerk's office, legal department. So staff would see those efficiencies as well. Also monetary savings. Smaller subdivisions, about $1,500 applicants could save per application. Larger subdivisions, close to $2,800 that they could save. So given these benefits at that time, staff was directed by council to move forward. And the proposal before you tonight is an administrative approval of preliminary plats, and specifically that would stop at the staff level with the Development Services Director. And the director could approve with conditions, or deny a pre-plat based on the technical staff recommendation. Applicants could appeal the director's decision to the commission with then a further appeal to the council. We did review this proposal with the development community, and there was broad support. And I believe the council does have a letter from Harvard Investments that was sent to you today. The support was because this item would provide greater efficiencies for those applicants as well as staff, time savings as well as the cost savings that we just talked about. And again, this would foster those continuous improvement efforts that are so important to the city. With that, we are recommending approval of the amendment before you tonight as put forth in the ordinance there, 23-1572. With that, Mayor, that concludes my presentation. Staff is the applicant, so we're available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, will the city clerk plead resolution number 2023-2296 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2023-2296, declaring as public record that certain document filed with the city clerk entitled Exhibit A, Amendment to Chapter 15 Subdivision Regulations of the Goodyear Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. Will the council please enter a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2023-2296? I see both a motion and a second. Open up to speak. I've got Councilmember Campbell up first.
Okay, so my question, Steve, I'm assuming that the reason why this is coming forward is because it takes too long to go through planning and zoning and then coming to us. Is that basically it in a nutshell?
Mayor and council, there is a savings, yes, that applicants could obtain. It could be 1 to 2 months at least.
Because are we not having our council meeting immediately after planning and zoning? And if not, why not?
Mayor and council, it does depend on when a plat does receive its technical approval from the staff, and then we try to then schedule next available P&Z, next available council. Usually we can move pretty efficiently. Sometimes there are maybe some things we do a little bit outstanding that we do have to take care of. That's why we put it as at least in a month saving. Usually we can get an applicant to the following month. Maybe sometimes it's a little longer, so that's where the 2 months came from. But typically, applicants should see at least a 4-week saving, 5 weeks.
What's that? You got
I did want to add that we also surveyed other cities in the valley, and we were an outlier in this particular area. Other cities either went to P&Z or approval at the staff, so we're just aligning with what's happening in other cities.
Are we the only city that does it this way?
Mayor and council, yes, right now. We're the only one that has council as the final approval
I'm
authority.
sorry, what?
Goodyear is the only one that has council as the final
Then
approval
why have we
authority.
taken so long to come this? We hate to be the last one out.
Mayor,
Why
council,
didn't we address this a long time ago then?
we're fixing it now. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Stipp?
Thank you. Steve, I appreciate this one coming forward. This obviously is a step toward this moving our process faster. And the presentation was made to us back in October, November, outlining a number of council actions that would speed processes up. And I commented at the time to the manager at the time that I saw nothing in there that was related to the staff processes that could speed things up. So while I greatly appreciate this one coming and obviously would be very supportive of this, I think it's really incumbent upon the staff outside of the lean process and all the other things that we're doing internally to really look at how we're serving our customers inside the organization. How accessible are we to those customers? Are we answering our phones? Are we answering emails? There's been a lot of complaint in the industry about cities just generically not being responsive. And we are under attack by the legislature, and quite frankly, Goodyear is in the top 5 offenders of being the worst to get through. So we have got to take some steps internally to kind of move that forward. So while I really appreciate this, this is one item of probably 10 or 15 that need to be addressed probably sooner rather than later. And this is very rhetorical, so please don't feel you need to respond to the insanity that I'm spewing out. But I really think that that we owe not only the development community, but in the long run, that affects our future resident who doesn't pay as much because the process took 2 years instead of 12 months. There's a cost savings to the eventual resident as well. So thank you for doing this, and I look forward to lists, chunks of things that we're going to be able to move on. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to close up. I appreciate trying to shrink. Time is money, and as Councilmember Stipp has mentioned, we're getting attacked on a regular basis from a time allotment, how long it takes for things to go through. So I also agree, anything we can look at internally that speeds the process up will make it a little nicer. And in fact, I would suggest that for our other colleagues and other cities in the valley, because unfortunately, no matter how well we do, sometimes we get lumped in with a group of individuals that may not be as receptive. But from our perspective, I think it's important that we keep working towards trying to streamline the process, because time is money, and I think this is a step in the right direction. But keep looking to see if we can find some more in there, okay? With that, can you open up the voting? Passes 7-0. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Would the city clerk please read ordinance number 2023-1572 by title only?
Adopt ordinance number 2023-1572, amending section 15-2-3, stage 2 preliminary plat of the Goodyear Code of Ordinances, providing for correction, severability, and effective date, and directing the city clerk to record a copy of this ordinance.
Thank you. Will the council please enter a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-1572? I see a motion and a second. Open request to speak. Seeing none, we vested in at the others. So with that, open up the voting, please. Passes 7-0. The next item for business is consider approving a development agreement for Fulton Homes at Ballpark Village. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Steve Cinto, Director of Engineering, although this evening I've got my Development Services cap on. Tonight, I'm seeking approval of a development agreement for Fulton Homes at Ballpark Village. Although I am presenting, this was definitely a collaborative effort between the City Attorney's Office, Finance, Engineering, Development Services, and the Fulton Homes team. Some quick background on the project. Council recently approved a PAD amendment and a preliminary plat for this project on January 23rd of this year. If you'd please take a look at the exhibit with me. The associated project is located at the southeast corner of Yuma Road and Estrella Parkway, north of and east of our ballpark and west of the Bullard Wash. This agreement primarily focuses, though, on this little rectangle here, which is the frontage along Yuma and the Bullard Road or Bullard Wash crossing of Yuma Road. So it's a fairly straightforward agreement. It's a fairly straightforward reimbursement agreement for Yuma Road improvements, with just a few main terms. So the first term deals with, provided that the city has funding at the time of this project's development, Fulton Homes will build full street improvements along much of the frontage, shown also here in the rectangle. And they'll build the Bullard Wash crossing, a culvert here, and adjacent to the project, and it'll be subject to reimbursements for the portions that they are not required to build per the subdivision regulations. So that means everything beyond the half-street improvements and everything beyond the 25% they would be responsible for of the Bullard Wash crossing culvert. So the second term in the agreement deals with the traffic signal, future traffic signal at Goodyear Boulevard and Yuma. Essentially, if it's warranted at the time of development, they'll go ahead and install it, and we'll reimburse them the 50% that they would not owe otherwise. The third term, the city will support the project if there's any additional right-of-way needed for the portions that aren't their responsibility normally, we'll go ahead and acquire that right away in support of the project. And then the fourth term, in consideration for Fulton's efforts, we will be providing expedited plan review, and we will reimburse 100% of the expedited plan review upon the completion of the project. So in conclusion, staff sees this agreement as a win-win scenario. It allows Fulton to construct more of the Yuma Road improvements at once, effectively removing their project from a floodplain and reducing future scalloped areas that the city would then have to go and fill in at a later time. Staff supports the development agreement and recommends its approval. Now I'm available for any questions, and also we have the developer's representative here if you have any questions for him.
Okay, thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? With that, City Clerk, please read Resolution 2023-2302 by title only.
Adopt resolution number 2023-2302, approving the development agreement for Fulton Homes at Ballpark Village, authorizing and directing the city manager to execute said development agreement, providing authorization for future actions and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Would the council please enter a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2023-2302? Got a motion and a second up on the board. Open up to speak. Councilmember Campbell?
I know I've been gone for a while, but I've got a question on number 3 and number 4. Number 3, you said that they would provide the light if it was warranted. What does that mean? Exactly. What are we doing here?
Mayor and Councilmember Campbell, there's a number of warrants that are required in order to necessitate the construction of a signal. So at this point in time, the warrants aren't met, but during the development process, it's possible that some warrants will be met, and then they would go ahead and install a signal. If not, then the city will install a signal at a later date when it's warranted.
But then we would have to pay for it, and they end up building out, right?
They would pay their proportionate share regardless.
Regardless,
Yes.
okay. All right, that's what I wanted to ask. And then number 4, you kind of breezed over it really, really quick, but you were saying about the expedited plan review, whatever. Would you go over that again?
Yes,
please?
absolutely. So we, as consideration for their efforts,
Putting in the road and the culvert.
Yes.
Okay.
We agreed to expedite their plan review of construction documents through the Development Services Department, and they would pay for it up front. And if they complete the improvements, then along with the rest of the reimbursements, we would return the expedited fees.
All right, is there a time frame for them to do their portion of that road?
There isn't a distinct time frame. It's based on when they develop.
Do we know when they're going to develop?
If I may, I'll call up.
I mean, these are just basic questions, and you know, we're going to approve all of this. Well, we want to know when are they going to build it, and if it's really going to be built in our lifetime.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Chris Webb with Rose Law Group here on behalf of Fulton Homes. Councilmember Campbell, to answer your question, so right now we are still in the process of preparing our improvement plans and final plat for the initial phase of the project. Haven't yet submitted those to the city, but we are preparing those right now. As Steve said, the preliminary plat was approved just toward the end of January. So we're getting close to being able to submit the final plat and improvement plans for the first phase. And then the intent is once those get through the city's approval process that we would then pull permits and proceed with the development. So, based on, typical review times, I would expect that before the end of the year that Fulton Homes would be breaking ground on the project.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. So I see that, I might have missed it, but in that rectangle portion that they're doing, I assume that you said is that phase 1. So is the remainder of their property that borders Yuma down to Estrella, is that part of the future development agreement for that section of the road as well?
Mayor, Councilmember Hampton, great question. So I believe in the preliminary plat, there was a phasing plan approved, and this is adjacent to phase 2. Phase 1 would be the western portion, in which they'll develop and construct the half-street improvements adjacent to that. there are other developments coming online that will build the other sides of the streets there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this area. I'm also looking forward to when we can get a full sidewalk from historic Goodyear to Olive Freeway Union High School or Desert Edge, because I know there's some students that walk that entire route as opposed to maybe taking a bus for after-school programs and things of that nature as well. So I appreciate Fulton Homes coming and having this site here, and looking forward to the homes being built here and just continuing to see the growth of our city. So thank you.
Thank you. With that, let's see, we've got the motion. Can we go ahead and open up for the votes? Seven zero. Thank you. Last item, business, consider approving an intergovernmental agreement with Glendale for a Veterans Court. Please introduce yourself.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. My name is Justin Atkinson. I'm the city prosecutor for the city of Goodyear. I'd like to apologize on behalf of my co-presenter, Crystal Whalen, the court administrator. She's sick tonight, so you have me solo. I'm here to just discuss entering into an agreement with the city of Glendale to participate in the West Valley Veterans Court program. I know I spoke to some of you about this over the course of several months when this issue first came up. I think we've had a couple of hurdles along the way, but I think I'm finally glad to see it come to fruition today. For those of you who don't know, veterans courts are basically a specialty court to serve veterans' needs. What they do is put them in connection with resources that are available to specifically veterans. Resources that they may not have access to or may not even be aware they're entitled to. Basically, it funnels them out of the traditional courtroom setting and puts them into a setting that is run basically by veterans with all veterans in there. The benefit to partnering with Glendale is that the infrastructure is already in place. The hardest part about setting up these courts is getting the providers to show up and actually provide those resources to the people who need them. And as you probably know, the VA and some of the other veterans groups are stretched kind of thin. So they do not have the time and resources to maybe show up to every single court in the valley. So being that we're a smaller city, even though we're growing, we won't have probably the volume to support our own independent veterans court. However, if we partner with the West Valley Veterans Court, with Glendale is putting on, not only is it grant funded by them, so it cuts costs down, but they already have the infrastructure in place. So the cases that we'll be funneling there, and there probably won't be a ton of them, I'd anticipate perhaps less than 10 a month, possibly less than 5 a month. I don't get a ton of requests for these because we do have a lower volume than, say, some of the larger cities. But we would be able to funnel them there. It would not take up as much time and resources as having our own independent freestanding court. And the infrastructure is there, the resources are there, the providers are there. Also important is other veterans are there. And that's a big thing with some of these courts. The reason they're successful is because of the camaraderie that they develop while they're in. They can also foster that while they're in this veterans court. Takes away a little bit of the stigma of asking for help, which many people face. It also puts them in touch with other veterans who are going through similar struggles. So what we're just asking is that we enter into this intergovernmental agreement and see how it goes. I think it will be a worthwhile endeavor. It's been something that I've been pushing for quite some time, and I think we'll be able to have no problem staffing it from my office. One of my assistant city prosecutors is a veteran. He's very interested in this. I am myself as well, and it doesn't look like it will take up a ton of time. I think probably about one afternoon, perhaps 2 a month. We can appear virtually. And considering that they do have a federally funded grant that's available for the next 2 years, and this is Glendale, it will defray the costs to our city down to a relatively low price per case that I've already worked with Crystal from the court, and they are able to afford that in their budget. So with that, I probably can take some questions now if you have anything that you'd like to ask.
Okay, thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Will the council please enter a motion and a second to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Glendale to allow for case referrals of a veteran defendants from Goodyear Court into Glendale and for qualified judicial officers of the Glendale Court to have authority to adjudicate cases referred to the West Valley Veterans Court? Do I see a motion and a second? I see a motion. I see a second. Let's open it up for discussion. And first out is Vice Mayor Kano.
Justin, I just want to say this has been a long time coming. I know that's been a goal of this council to get to this point, and so I just want to thank you and Crystal for the work that you've done to bring it forward. I'm wondering, for those who may have transportation barriers, how will we accommodate them to participate?
Currently, I probably don't have an accurate answer for that question. I think the way Glendale does it, and they would have to provide their own transportation down there. Now, that being said, there may be opportunities to partner with other rideshare companies or things like that in the future, if that's a necessity. Currently, most of the referrals that I do see, or the requests for referrals to Veterans Court that I do see, they would be able to provide their own transportation. Typically, they're people who have hired lawyers at this point, so I'm assuming that they're probably going to be able to get there themselves. But if we do have issues with that, I think that's something me and the court can probably team up with and see if we can come up with solutions to that.
Great.
And there may be opportunities for them to appear virtually as well.
That would be good. I just think that might be something to be prepared for. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's see. Lortano.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate this. I think this is a great program. It'll help our veterans, many of which have post-traumatic stress disorders, and they're maybe using drugs or alcohol. This will get them services so they are not back in our courts and they're back in society and getting the treatment they need. So I appreciate this and I strongly support it. And so thank you and Crystal for looking forward and looking out for our veterans.
Thank you.
Councilmember Campbell.
Well, I've talked to you a million times about this. We had talked about this 3 years ago, then we talked about it 2 years ago, then we talked about it 1 year ago, and I'm so happy to see that you're here with the IGA because this is so important. Our veterans are so often forgotten, and when they go into our judicial system, they're even more forgotten, and they don't, as you said, know where to get their services and where to get help, and we need to provide that for them. And I was so delighted when the presiding judge of Glendale contacted me and asked if our city would be interested in coming aboard. And I said, absolutely, yes. This is something we had talked about, but we don't have that many veterans in the system that we are dealing with, like some of the larger cities, even though we have a large military population. I know I'm a volunteer at Glendale Stand Up for the last, umpteen years, and I met a lot of veterans from Goodyear there. They were able to get themselves there and do whatever they needed to do, but they really appreciated having a judge on site there that would take care of their issue, whether it was a speeding ticket or they needed an ID or whatever. So I just think we're filling a void that we've had, and I'm just delighted that you're going to run with it. And I would hope that after the 2 years, even if we need to apply for the federal grant, that we are very proactive in it, so that once we start, we continue to do that.
And I don't know, Councilman Campbell, if you've had a chance to actually see some of the veterans courts, but it's very similar to the stand down.
Yes.
It's just sort of more regular
Yes.
in that they do appear on a monthly basis. They are able to kind of get in touch with different providers throughout it, and so it's sort of a microcosm of that. While those are great programs, the downside is they're only like once or twice a year.
I know.
Whereas this was something that they can have access to on a regular basis.
That's
So-
wonderful. Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I'm in full support. I think this is a great idea, and I'm hoping that if it comes to transportation, you can work out a virtual for them. That could possibly be an option, and hopefully it gets set up over in Glendale, so that may be an option for you to resolve it. So with that, let's go ahead and open up the voting. Passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, does the council have any comments, commendations, reports, or current events, or requests for future items down here? Go ahead.
I just want to let the Transportation Department know I really appreciated their four-way stop at Lower Buckeye and Saraville, which was very much needed. And also, a lot of the Pebble Creek residents were pretty excited about Gate 8.
That's mine.
Light there as well. That had some residents tell me about also. So I appreciate us continuing to push our projects forward, and especially the pinch points as our city continues to grow. So thank you for that. And then I rode my bike over to the Hops and Hops, which was a very beautiful, beautiful night and very well attended. So a great event for the community, because it was very well attended. I felt like it. It felt like it, at least. And a lot of happy kids with their eggs. So yep, that's what I had. So thank you.
Yeah.
See what we've got here. Guess Councilmember Stips up next.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for a work session. A number of us attended a housing symposium about 6 weeks or so ago. Mark Stapp, who I think, I don't know if he's the dean or he's the leader or whatever his role is, from ASU Real Estate, talked about the marketplace and how the market can help, how it really drives economic development, et cetera. And he talked about there being a disconnect between what's happening in the market and what city councils and city staff seem to believe is happening in the market. So I would like to request that we invite Mark Stapp from ASU to a work session to kind of give us some information. He's a neutral party. He's not from an attorney's office. He's not from anywhere else, and kind of talk to us, philosophically about what goes on in the marketplace and how that drives it. So I'd like to request that as a work session, preferably before we go on break. But obviously his schedule is going to dictate that, and I would just ask for 2 council members to support me.
Well, you don't need 2. I'm on board, so go ahead and set it up.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Campbell?
I just have a request of the manager. The first I heard that we were in the top 5 of not getting plans through or development, whatever. If you hear that we are sluggish in any area, in any department for anybody, would you please let the council know? Because it's imperative that we're on the same page here. We're all into this thing, but it doesn't help us to hear that it's been happening a long time and we just didn't know it.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
All right, does the manager have anything for us?
I do. I have a follow-up on the Hop and Hops that happened Saturday night. It was an overwhelming success, an estimated 8,000 guests. 8,000 guests at the Goodyear Rec Campus.
That's a lot of eggs.
More than 80,000 eggs. Candy and toys were given away. Families enjoyed the egg hunts. A new event was the Peep or Treat pathway for guests to collect eggs, candy, and toys. There were various free activities, photo booths, crafts, inflatables, and a big thank you goes out to our PD and fire department and the entire Parks and Recreation Department team for helping with the event. 80,000 eggs.
How many did your kid get out of those 80,000?
79,000.
79,000. All right, the next meeting will be a work session on April 17th to talk about the budget. A vote may be held to call an executive session for the following reasons. Pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A34, discussion and consultation with the city attorney for legal advice to consider its position and instruct its attorney regarding the city's position regarding contracts and that are subject to negotiations related to the development agreement with Globe Corporation related to a parking agreement and structure for the GSQ project, and pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A34, discuss in consultation with the city attorney for legal advice to consider its position and instruct its attorney regarding the city's position regarding contracts that are subject to negotiations relating to ambulance service agreement with Maricopa Ambulance. I would like a motion and a second. I've got a motion and a second. Go ahead and open the voting. Seven, we will now convene into executive session.